The most dangerous islands in the world. Everyone would love to spend a few pleasant days on the island of their dreams. But have you ever thought of going to some of the more dangerous islands of the world? If that's the case, then we have a list of top 10 most dangerous islands which are serene and tranquil. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to Explained Earth. So without wasting any more time, let us dive into these islands. Let's begin the countdown with 10. SABA Island. You will be treated to a view unlike any other, a location that appears to be locked in the distant past if you are ready to suffer the 12-minute bumpy flight from Saint Martin to SABA, the smallest island in the Dutch Antilles. When you arrive, you'll discover a community perched on a volcano with a lively atmosphere, live music, family-run eateries serving freshly caught food, and lots of outdoor activities for nature enthusiasts like hiking and scuba diving. Despite the many attacks SABA receives from Mother Nature, her inhabitants always manage to live and rebuild. 9. ROCKALL Island. The real danger is that the island is a large granite rock sticking out of the ocean, the remains of an extinct volcano. Even if that doesn't scare you, it isn't recommended that you try to climb the relatively short summit of 65 feet, as the island is smack dab in the part of the ocean that boasts waves that reach upwards of 100 feet. Despite there being no natural value to the island other than its looks, ROCKALL was considered an extremely important strategic location by the United Kingdom, which claimed the island in fear of it falling into the hands of the Soviet Union and being used to house a missile silo. Historically, Britain's claim to the island is notable for it being their last modern-day territorial gain. 8. GRUINARD Island. Another dangerous island in Scotland is GRUINARD Island, although it earned its spot on our list due to a man-made hazard. The most extreme biological weapon tests of the 20th century took place on this menacingly desolated island. The British troops blasted and sprayed the island hundreds of times with chlorine gas and anthrax weapons. GRUINARD was permanently changed by anthrax, which also poisoned the soil and wiped out the entire local animal population. Only authorized government researchers are permitted to visit the island and must wear hazmat suits from the minute they arrive until they depart. The island continues to be a wasteland. Non-military personnel are not allowed to attempt to land on the island, and even if they could, you shouldn't go there because you wouldn't last all that long. 7. Miyakijima Island. All the volcanoes in the Izu island chain which protrude from Japan's southeast coast are active right now. Over the previous century alone, significant eruptions have claimed the lives of approximately 200 people. The biggest of them occurred in the year 2000, when Mount Oyama, the largest volcano of the island Miyakijima, blew its top. 4 years in a row, Oyama, which towers over several little settlements home to only a few thousand people, emitted deadly volumes of sulfuric gas and lava onto the island. While some people decided to leave, the great majority stayed. The inhabitants of Miyakijima had to stay home with their doors shut and only venture outdoors with their gas masks if necessary before 2005 due to the island's extensive restrictions. 6. FARALLON Island. The FARALLON Island, also known as the Devil's Teeth, are a group of jagged rocks that make up the island. These rocks are extremely sharp and deadly on their own, but the lurking hungry sharks make the area even more terrifying. In addition to these sharks, the island is also home to the largest offshore nuclear waste dump in the entirety of the United States, with nearly 50,000 drums of radioactive waste. You could die just by being close to this island. The turbulent seas surrounding the island have eaten some who have ventured to transgress, including the unfortunate occupants of a yacht known as the Low Speed Chase in April of 2012. The island was also utilized for radioactive research in the mid-1900s. 5. The Dead Man's Island. In the United Kingdom's Kent, Dead Man's Island is like something out of a nightmare. Over 200 men's skeletons have been discovered on the island, and researchers believe they belong to prisoners who died of infectious diseases centuries ago. Because prisoners were frequently on boats at the time of their deaths, the island was used as a cemetery. However, if you visit the island right now, it would be like walking onto a set of a horror movie, because hundreds of skeletons have started to appear all over the place. The island is off limits to the general public, but some research groups can visit it. Every time one of these groups goes, people comment on how horrifying or impactful the experience was for them. The scariest part is that nearly all inhabitants were convicted of minor offenses like pickpocketing in the 18th century. Even though this island is one of the few on the list where people live, that does not make it any less dangerous. Which of these islands would you pick if you had to pick one for your next vacation? Do tell us in the comment section down below, and don't forget to subscribe to Explained Earth as well. 4. RUNIT Island. A sizable coral atoll in the Pacific Ocean, North Sentinel Island is a component of the Andaman Islands in the Bay of Bengal. It was in Japan's possession until 1944, when US forces captured it and used it to explode more than 40 nuclear bombs. Radiation was contained by a concrete dome, but as sea levels rise, water seeping into the dome has changed toxic materials into lead. While the population of the atoll has been friendly to tourists, visitors would not have such success if they traveled to North Sentinel Island, which is home to about 700 people. One of the last tribes wholly cut off from contemporary civilization, the Sentinelese are susceptible to sickness from the outside world. Indian officials did not bring charges against the Sentinelese people for the fatality they caused in 2006, but they did swiftly send a missionary from the United States in 2018 to safeguard their island. 3. POVEGLIA Island. Poveglia is an island in the Venetian lagoon that was used by the Romans in the late Middle Ages to confine people who contracted the bubonic plague. On the island, a mental hospital was constructed so medical professionals could torture their victims and conduct lobotomies before they met a tragic end. When the Ghost Adventures crew got to the island, they could record spooky screams and uncanny whispers. Although the island is off limits to tourists, its dark history has kept us away. The subject on whether this island harbors spirits from the past is a controversial one. 2. Snake Island. We discovered that there is in fact another island with a snake infestation similar to Karnak Island after looking into another island off the coast of Brazil. The only inhabitants of this island are a number of poisonous golden lancehead pit vipers. There are thought to be about 4,000 of these poisonous reptiles roaming the island that Brazilians have called Land Snake Island. We don't see why someone would even hesitate to keep far away from it with all the poisonous snakes that are present. It was formerly connected to Brazil, but about 10,000 years ago sea levels began to rise, separating the island where the poisonous snakes now reside. Even the healthiest person can die within an hour from a single bite from one of these vipers. To guarantee that nobody even reaches the island, the government has declared the region off limits and stationed the Navy nearby. 1. RAMREE Island. Just off the coast of Myanmar in the Indian Ocean is RAMREE Island. From a distance, the island appears to be an ideal location for a tranquil getaway, but if you were to venture inland, you'd definitely have a nightmare-like experience and probably end up inside the stomach of one of the planet's oldest surviving species. That is because RAMREE is home to one of the biggest concentrations of saltwater crocodiles in the world. In World War II, after being defeated by the British in a fight on the island, the Japanese army retreated via RAMREE's swamp areas, and the savage crocs swallowed up over 400 troops. This attack by these 2,000-pound reptiles on the Japanese continues to be remembered as the time when most people died from animal attacks. And that brings us to the ending of today's video. Please do check out our other content. Please share your opinions in the comment section down below. If you want to know more about our Earth and the universe surrounding it, subscribe to Explained Earth and we will tell you all about it. Tune in next week to learn all about Earth. Please do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and do hit that bell icon for further notifications about any of our future content.